Hello. Again, thank you for inviting us to the International Environment Forum. I am Hyun Sik CHOI, Secretary, President of the Korea Sustainable Campus Association. Then I will start the presentation. 일단 의사 전달을 정확하게 하기 위해서
For clear communication, I will deliver my presentation in Korean. I ask your understanding.
일단 제목을
My presentation is titled A Step of University Students Toward Carbon Neutral University. The reason why I put this topic is that there are two reasons. As previous speaker mentioned, carbon neutrality is the talk of the world and is the goal to achieve by 2050. And with this goal, universities around the world are scattered around the world, and 15 or 20% of the total carbon emissions are generated from universities. So, without the carbon neutrality at the university level, it may be hard to achieve the carbon neutrality goal. And second, university students need to take an initiative and need to actively participate and have an awareness on the environmental issues. Without those participation of university students, we cannot achieve the carbon neutrality goal by 2050. That's why I selected the title of my presentation like this. And I'd like to introduce my organization, Korea Sustainable Campus Association, which is called KSCA. KSCA was founded in October 27, 2021. It has been less than 2 months since our foundation, but we have already 135 university members. The reason is that in Korea, many universities have been working hard, and 4 groups were actively working hard for environmental issues. But they are united to deal with and address the global issues such as carbon neutrality, and it is a kind of voluntary movement of university members. So to achieve these goals, 4 Dream Campus Councils were united to become a KSCA. So we are quite new institution as a KSCA, but we have long history of joining our forces together for environmental issues. 지금 So what is the key point of the carbon neutrality? That is energy. Energy generation efficiency should be maximized, like using new technologies, and energy use should be minimized. And to this end, the penetration of the renewable energy should be increased. Compared to other countries like European countries and other countries, the CO2 emissions of Korea is very high, about 15% higher than other countries. One of the contributors is the share of renewable energy. So we need to increase the share of renewable energy at the university level to reduce the carbon emissions level. And we need to analyze the data by establishing the inventory regarding the energy source. Events related to environment are important, but the actual reduction of carbon emissions is more important. That's what I think. And we need to make an effort voluntarily, and the university's policy alone are not enough because it costs a lot for the universities to move in that direction. However, like other countries, Korea's economic situation is not that good. So we need to establish the governance that covers the private sector, government, and the public sector and academia to move and reduce the carbon emissions. And we need to provide education on the eco-friendly environmental education. How to achieve carbon neutrality and what kind of strategies should be implemented should be talked during the curriculum, during the education for the universities. And based on the kind of education, we can achieve the NDC by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2050. That's the purpose of our association, and we expect more members to join, and there will be more activities with the university students of the member universities. Next slide, please. This slide shows the meaning of the carbon neutrality. I think the member and the participants of this forum and universities who are joining today know the definition of the carbon neutrality very well. Carbon neutrality is to achieve the net zero emissions. But human activities should generate the carbon emissions from heating and economic activities. So if we generate the carbon emissions, it is important to have a technology to capture and store the emitted carbon and to make the net zero carbon emissions. We want to achieve the carbon neutrality. So I'd like to talk about the history of the carbon neutrality declaration by 2050. In 2015, our movement started in earnest. And as you can see, in 2017, Sweden became the first country to enact the law on carbon neutrality by 2045, and the UK joined this move. And as you know, the US returned to the Paris Agreement, and China also declared the carbon neutrality by 2060. It is a very meaningful movement in the right direction. Regarding the source of greenhouse gas emissions, in Korea, only 34.4% of the carbon dioxide is coming from energy sources. But in Korea, the share amounts to over 90%. So it is related to the less distribution of the renewable energy. And my slide is coming from the UN website. You can refer to that website for more information. And Korea started to have interest in the carbon neutrality starting from 2020, and the Carbon Neutrality Commission was established to make a systemized approach to achieve that goal. And the Carbon Neutrality Commission revealed a scenario to achieve the carbon neutrality by 2050. And under the scenario, the Korean government plans to reduce the carbon emissions by 40%, which was moved and adjusted upward by 2 or 3% from the original goal. Just increasing the reduction goal by 2 or 3% has a meaning and significant meaning, and to achieve that goal, the university's role is very important. The pink box shows the scenario that was established and announced by the Carbon Neutrality Commission. And you can see the mapping of the greenhouse gas emission goals of major universities around the world. Many universities announced the carbon neutrality and carbon zero. Harvard University and London University declared the carbon zero goals, and Harvard and Cornell University declared the carbon neutrality goal to be achieved by 2030 and 2045. And you can see the progress of each university. You can see other universities who joined this movement and declared the greenhouse gas reduction goals. It's a little bit shameful for Koreans because few universities in Korea declared the carbon neutrality and the carbon and greenhouse gas reduction goals. Seoul National University did not declare any goal regarding the carbon reductions. In this regard, I think Korean universities need to make more effort. And there are many universities which consumed a lot of energy in Korea. And this slide shows the number of universities which use a lot of energy. And the number of universities, energy incentive universities, increased significantly. And this slide shows that the construction of the universities accounts for 20% of the total carbon emissions from building. So universities are the main contributor to the greenhouse gas emissions in the construction sector. So without the participation of the universities, it may be hard and challenging for us to achieve the net zero by 2050. In Korea, many people are working hard to achieve the carbon neutrality goal, and there are activities called Green Leader Activities and Idea Competition Award. And Idea Competition Award are held to gather many good and innovative ideas. So I'd like to share with you some data regarding the idea competition. The first idea that was came up with from university student was using the summer school or winter school. The second idea is related to making the carbon neutrality certificate. So energy savings and the carbon emission reduction can be converted into the points or mileage or discount in the tuition fee in the form of benefit. You can see the example that is called the carbon neutrality based energy independent campus. And these ideas are all coming from university students.
식단을 꾸미면서
The idea includes the vegan restaurant
RFID 방식으로
and using the RFID technology to handle the waste
비대하는 데이터를 많이 쓰는
and use the public transportation. Those ideas are coming and were
세 번째 사례예요.
coming from university students. And the third case is from Seoul National University. It is related to the carbon emissions from cafeteria. So when we use the low carbon diet, a lot of carbon emissions can be reduced.
서울대 교직원 3만 명을 기준으로 했을 때
So based on the number of people entering the Seoul National University, the carbon emissions could be reduced by about 461 tons of CO2. It is a significant amount of CO2 that can be generated by the electricity use by 70 households for a year.
식당이라는 게 상당히
So low carbon diet and low carbon restaurants are becoming more widely spread these days. And the next one is about the Nabi stair, which is the stairs to generate electricity when people steps on the stairs. You can see this campaign and ideas are posted on the right side of the stairs. So when people put their steps on the stairs, the electricity is generated. So it induces people to reduce the use of elevator and take stairs, and at the same time it can generate electricity. This kind of posters can be placed on the ceiling or wall like this. And the last idea is about the smartphone waste separation. These ideas are applied in many universities in Korea.
그래서 디자인 프로토타입에 대해서 데모를 했던 부분들이
And these are the prototype of the application design. And these ideas will be more promoted and activated. I shared 5 cases and innovative ideas from university students, and that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much.